Congratulations, you have made it to the end of this course on the passions. In this last final episode, we're going to speak to just a little bit the difference between the passions and the habits so that one can grow in virtue by understanding very simply what virtues are. I would see the Summa in Your podcast for a way more in-depth look at what habits and virtues are. We're going to talk about some practical next steps for one to take to prayer to live out after this course. One regarding purity of heart and the other regarding rule of life and virtue. So what is the difference between your passions and the virtues? So the passions, as we've spoken about here, they come about through sensual apprehension. When I see some object, which I take to be good or evil, either with our eyes, through the external senses, or in the mind, through the imagination, it elicits in me a certain emotion, a certain passion. That could be love, that could be desire, that could be sorrow. If these is an object which is simply good or evil, simply considered. If it is a mixed object, it has good aspects to it, it has evil aspects to it, which gives it the character of arduousness, something to obtain and something to struggle against in order to obtain it, then it's going to be down in the irascible passions. So this is what the passions are, and they are elicited because of our brokenness. They're elicited pre-voluntary choice. So as soon as we apprehend something because of our estimation of it, before we've even voluntarily begun to deliberate about our circumstances, we feel something. Then we think about what we're feeling, we begin to deliberate, and then we can choose to feel something different. Those are the passions. What are the habits? What are the virtues? The virtues are good habits. Habits are qualities of you. So think about in the intellectual side of things, there's the habit of, let's say, English. So English is something that's on you, is in you. You know the English language, even when you're not thinking in English, even when you're sleeping, you still have this knowledge that you've acquired through repeated acts of learning English, of speaking English. So you have this habit in the mind of English. There's a habit of the will, like justice. So the habit of rendering unto others what is their due. You've acquired that habit over time by doing just acts. Those acts have affected you. It's fascinating that we are an actor, at the same time we are the patient of our own actions. So our own actions affect us. They affect our character by creating habits. The passions, your will. So once you feel certain things like anger or sorrow or joy, and then you think you're going to choose either to encourage them, indulge that emotion, or to try and dispel it, that is going to affect your passions. Kind of like if you're trying to sharpen a dagger, rubbing it against a stone, your will is going to rub against your sensitive appetites in such a way that it affects them. So it makes it easier to feel daring when one ought to feel daring, or it makes it easier to dispel sorrow when one ought to feel sorrow. And again, the goal of virtue is to reintegrate us, to bring all of your passions, insofar as it is possible, through habitual voluntary actions of dispelling them or indulging them in line with reason, and then to bring reason in line with divine revelation. We're trying to become whole. Holiness includes becoming whole, one under God, all of our reason, our will, and then all of our sensitive passions. So how do we develop these habits? It's through repeated acts, repeated actions of bringing the emotions in, subduing them under the rule of reason. So the first practical tip, I'm actually going to begin with rule of life. To pick up a daily regimen that allows you to grow in discipline, disciplining your emotions, disciplining your life to be in accord with reason and divine revelation. An easy way to do that is contained in Matthew 6, when our Lord says, when you pray, when you fast, when you give alms. All of these actions are in accord with reason, prayer, asking God for His assistance. It's also worship, fasting, so not giving the body more than it needs for the sake of growing in temperance, but also for the sake of checking our passions and for the sake of mortifying the flesh so as to be conformed to Christ. Our penances in Jesus Christ are meritorious for ourselves and for the salvation of others. Prayer, fasting, almsgiving. So again, here we are moderating our appetites, our passions, our desires for material goods by giving away voluntarily some portion of what we have. Pick up a daily regimen, daily disciplines, which fall under the category of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. These disciplines are going to rub against your passions. They're going to require of you to will against your feelings in a lot of senses. And again, that's going to sharpen, that's going to habituate your emotions to fall under reason, to conform to reason. So finding a rule of life, that's the first practical tip. The second thing I would say as a last consideration as we wrap up this course on the passion, something that I've been saying through a lot of the episodes, is use the emotions to discover who you are. What a man loves determines what he is, as we have said, who he is. It determines his character. Look at your fears, look at your desires, and ask yourself, what do my emotions tell me about where my heart is? What do I love? Do I love God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, or do I love something else? The goal of our life is to become one in God, purity of heart, to remove all of these false idols from our heart, all of these material, temporal goods that for whatever reason we have an affection for that is not directed towards our Lord's glory and the salvation of souls. Remove these things. But in order to remove them, we have to know that we have them. Look at your emotions. What am I afraid of? What do I desire? What do I hope for? Take that exercise to prayer as a self-diagnostic, and then seek to remove these false counterfeit lesser loves so that you might preserve your love for the one true God, the one you were made for. So may God bless you. I pray that this course has been helpful to you. Feel free, of course, to reach out for specific questions. And if you want to go deeper in this diagnostic of the passions, growth in virtue, in a more substantial way, I would recommend coaching, one-on-one coaching with myself, which is also available through Think Catholic. May God bless you. You will be in my prayers, and please be praying for me.